Missing someone with all your missing someone
What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. In this week's episode, I am going to do a pretty much balayage retouch on this client. She's a brand new client and she's wanting to do something super low maintenance, very subtle, but give her nice highlights around her face and just something that's gonna grow out and fade out really pretty with what she has going on. So the key to this one is doing something that is very dimensional and soft so that when it grows out, it's very lived in and looks super natural against her hair, and it never looks like she really needs her hair done badly. So before I begin this transformation, I want to go over just her natural colors. So she showed me pictures of base colors that these clients, they are naturally, I would say like a level 2 or 3, and this client is a level probably closer to a level 7 naturally. So if I were to give her highlights like these, it wouldn't look the same because it wouldn't give that contrast that she is probably looking at in both of these pictures. So I explained that to her before we started the color, that if I gave her this type of tone, it might look more subtle on her hair because she doesn't have that darker base for these highlights to really pop against. And it was really good that I explained this to her because explaining it this way made her realize that this color, if she wanted these same tones, it would look a little bit more natural and more subtle on her hair because of how her natural is. But I also did give her the option, if she did really love these photos, that we could definitely add in low lights and shadow root her a little bit darker to create this look. But she opted to just keep her natural base color and not add any of the lowlights at all and just work with what she had, because again, she wanted something more low maintenance and natural anyways. But it's good to explain this to your client so that at the end of the appointment, their expectations are more realistic. Because if I were to look at those photos first and just say, okay, let's do it, and then she sees her hair and sees that it looks pretty different, you'll see at the end of the video it does look different from these photos because her base is so much lighter. So it did help her create a more realistic expectation towards the end of the appointment, and she was a lot happier. So for her highlighting balayage placement, I've already kind of detailed her hairline. I did about 2 baby lights just on the hairline, 2 on each side, and now I'm going in and doing my mohawk sectioning pattern that is going to overlay on top of everything else. So after those 2 foils around the hairline, just kind of outlining the underneath, I'm starting her main foiling technique for the roots at the occipital. So I'm taking that section in the middle of her head and just going up, basically taking a mohawk section all the way to the hairline. And for this, since she wants a very soft dimensional grow out, I'm taking about a 1/4 inch sections in between each of my highlights. And for my weave pattern, I'm pretty much doing, I would say, a medium-sized weave. So this is going to create a lot of dimension and kind of give the illusion that there's like slight baby lights. So it's not necessarily a total baby light. You can see my weaves are pretty, they're a little bit bigger than a normal baby light would be, but it's going to give the illusion that there is more of a baby light effect because of how much dimension I'm leaving in between my weaves. And then the products I'm using the Schwarzkopf Blonde Me Lightener, and I'm just using 20 volume, and I like to mix that 1 to 2 with 20 volume. This is just going to create like a nice thick consistency that's not too runny but keeps the foils from slipping. So I know in some videos I will do slices, and sometimes I'll do like medium-sized weaves or like smaller weaves like I'm doing in this video, and the way that I will determine which technique I use is just depending on how much dimension they want. So if she showed me a picture that was more solid and had a lot more color and didn't really look like it had baby lights, then I would do slices. But since she showed me pictures that had almost like baby lights, very soft grow out, this is why I chose to do more of a medium size to smaller size weave, because this is going to give more dimension than a slice would in the same sectioning patterns. So as I'm moving on to the money piece here, I'll turn her over probably when I have like maybe room for a few more foils after I do the full money piece section. So for my money piece, I usually do about like 3 to 4 foils, and then after that I'll continue doing the regular placement in the back. And for her money piece sectioning pattern, I did a baby light right at the hairline, and then I did a slice and then another baby light right after. So then right after I did my money piece sectioning pattern, I just went ahead and continued doing the dimensional smaller to medium size weave in the back to connect and blend everything together. So by doing a baby light and then a slice and then a baby light for the money piece, what that's going to do is going to create a very soft but slight pop of a money piece, so that when she curls her hair, she'll really see it, but when she wears her hair straight, it's very subtle that the front is a little bit lighter. So then because she didn't want something that was too bold of a money piece, as I'm going towards the sides here, I am just doing 2 baby lights right on the hairline just to tie everything together. So once I'm done detailing the front hairline, I like to connect the hairline from the back to the front by doing one little baby light or slice depending on whatever my weave pattern is for the sectioning, and just connect the two. This way, when she puts her hair up in a ponytail, she has beautiful color all around her hairline and everything looks super cohesive. So since I did that center part sectioning where I did most of my detail highlighting on the mohawk of her head, as I'm doing the sides here, this is where you can leave more dimension. So my sections here are going to be more spaced out. I would say that the sections on this sides can vary. I would probably do like a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch in between the weaves here, and this is going to create very beautiful dimension when she wears her hair curled. And it's going to really make the front money piece pop, because the only way a highlight will pop is if there is something dark behind it, allowing the contrast to make it seem brighter. So lately, whenever I do the sides of highlighting here, when I get to this part, I like to leave a little bit more dimension than I would in that mohawk section. So now that I've pretty much finished highlighting all of her roots and doing all the blend of that, I am now going in and tipping out the ends. So as I'm tipping out her hair, I'm focusing on trying to make the front a lot lighter and bolder, and then leaving the back a little bit more dimensional, so that there's a nice like graduation of lightness that kind of gets a little bit darker and more dimensional as it gets towards the back of the head, like it would normally if the sun was lightening it. So for the teasing part, I like to spread the hair right down the middle in the mohawk section and try to keep my sections very clean. This is going to be very helpful when I rinse out her hair and take out the foils. So I'm pretty much just teasing very lightly and then painting the ends. When I pick up my tease sections though, I like to make sure that they're very see-through so that I get a really good even application and saturation, so that I don't have any weird warm spots and they lift really bright and beautiful. And again, I was just focusing her teases around her face mostly, and then I did a few in the back to create that beautiful gradient where her hair looks lighter as it gets towards closer to her face. Okay, so for her toner, I went ahead and mixed up some Pulp Bright Liquid Demi. So her root toner, the formulation, I use a 7-8 and some clear. So I had to keep in mind this client, she has her hair texture is a bit on the finer side. So whenever a client has finer hair textures, you kind of have to assume that their hair might take the toner a little bit quicker than a client who has normal coarse hair. So I added in a little bit of clear to my formula to give me more control, so that the toner wouldn't grab too fast or too dark. So my measurements for my root shade is 7-8, which is a level 7, and then the 8 is the brown series. So I did about 20 grams of the 7-8, and then I did 5 grams of clear, and I mixed that 1-to-1 with the Liquid Demi developer. And then for her lighter formula on the mids and ends, I mixed 9-2 and mixed that with 9-3. So that measurement was going to be 1 ounce and 3/4 of 9-2 to 1/4 ounce of 9-3. And a little tip and trick that I like to do whenever I do a root shadow on the hairline is I will squirt a little bit of the lighter formula that's in the bottle into the root shade formula that's in the bowl to create a mid shade formula just to shadow root the hairline, because the hairs there are even finer than the hairs in the back, so that will tone even quicker than the rest of the hair. So I like to have that mid shade toner by combining the two formulas to create that mid color for the hairline, and then sometimes I will apply it on after the root shade in the back as well. Also, for the formulation, the 9-2 is a level 9 violet and the 9-3 is a level 9 gold. So the gold is in the formula to kind of give control, because sometimes, like I said, because she has finer texture, it can grab the formula a little bit quicker, and whenever hair grabs formulas a little bit quicker, can grab the ash a little bit faster. So the 9-3 gives me a little bit more control and creates that beautiful bronze tone so it doesn't go too ashy. Alrighty guys, so here is the finished look. You can see how beautiful and soft this is going to grow out. So as this fades out, it is going to get a lot lighter, more blonder, and get a bit more golden. You can see how that 9-3 kept that beautiful slight gold effect in the bronze tone, but it still looks overall super ashy and bronze. You can also see that even though her base is lighter than the other girls in her goal photos, that how this color looks different against her natural tone. Alrighty guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. As always, thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in, and I will talk to you guys next week.